Hi there. If you've found your way to this space today, perhaps something has changed recently. Maybe something you depended on, something familiar, something that helped you understand where you stood in the world. And now, somehow, things feel different. Not necessarily because everything has fallen apart, but because something that once felt certain no longer feels quite as steady. Sometimes these changes catch us off guard. A conversation, a decision, an ending, a door closing where we thought there would be more time. And sometimes they arrive so gradually that we hardly notice them at first. Until one day we realize that the ground beneath us no longer feels the same. Sometimes we don't realize how much of ourselves we've placed into something until it's no longer there. When something meaningful shifts, it can leave us feeling disoriented, even when we expected it, even when we chose it, even when we know it may ultimately be for the best. Because change is not only about what is happening around us, it is also about what is happening within us. The routines we followed, the expectations we carried, the version of ourselves that had begun to feel familiar, the future we had quietly imagined. When those things change, it is natural to feel unsettled, natural to feel uncertain, natural to wonder where you stand now. If that's where you find yourself today, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not failing to adapt. You are not falling behind. You are simply experiencing something deeply human. You are adjusting to a landscape that no longer looks exactly the way it once did. And before we rush toward solutions, before we try to decide what comes next, perhaps we can simply acknowledge what is here. Something has changed, and that change deserves a moment to be recognized, not judged, not fixed, just recognized. For now, let yourself rest in that awareness. The ground has shifted, yes, but you are still here. When something leaves our lives, we often believe we are mourning the thing itself. And sometimes we are. But often we are mourning something else as well. The meaning we attached to it. The role it played in our story. The way it helped us understand who we were. Without realizing it, we can begin to place pieces of our worth into the things around us. Our work, our relationships, our achievements, our responsibilities, the expectations others have of us. And when one of those things changes or disappears, it can feel as though a piece of us disappeared with it. But your worth was never contained within that one thing. It may have reflected something valuable about you, but it was never the source of your value. And even now, beneath the uncertainty, you remain no less worthy than before. When the ground shifts beneath us, it is natural to want certainty again, to find answers, to make a plan, to replace what was lost as quickly as possible. The mind often believes that if it can solve the future, it can finally relax. So it searches and worries and rehearses and tries to force clarity before clarity is ready to arrive. But not everything needs to become clear right away. Not every path needs to reveal itself all at once. And not every pause needs to be filled immediately. Perhaps for this moment, you can set down the responsibility of figuring everything out, just for a little while. The future will still be there when you return. We do not always choose the pauses that find us, and not every pause feels welcome. But sometimes, when movement slows, things become visible that were difficult to see before. The exhaustion we had been carrying, the needs we had been ignoring, the dreams we had quietly set aside, the parts of ourselves that were waiting for our attention. Not because the loss was good, not because the uncertainty is easy, but because stillness has a way of revealing what constant motion can hide. And perhaps there is something here worth noticing, something gentle, something honest, something that has quietly remained even as everything else has changed. You do not need a complete picture of the future to move toward it. You do not need certainty before taking a step. You do not need every answer before beginning again. Sometimes all we can see is the next small stretch of path before us, and perhaps that is enough. The future does not have to be fully visible to exist. There are chapters of your life that have not yet introduced themselves, experiences you cannot yet imagine, versions of yourself you have not yet met. For now, there is no need to rush toward them. They will arrive in their own time. For now, simply be here, between what was and what comes next, without forcing an ending, without demanding certainty, without requiring yourself to already know the way forward. This space may feel unfamiliar, but it is not empty. It is where one chapter settles and another quietly begins. So if the future feels unclear today, if you find yourself standing in this in-between, know that you do not have to cross that distance all at once. For now, it is enough to stand here, to breathe, to rest, to trust that the path will reveal itself bit by bit. And until then, allow yourself to simply exist in the space between what was and what's next.